his brain. AC is a 39-year-old man presenting to the emergency room on United States. I'm going to describe to you what a case of it looks like medically, but know that the presentation can look different based on the patient's age. So a massive ingestion will affect a toddler different than it will an adolescent, different than it will an adult. In the United States, your local poison center can be reached by phone at 1-800-222-1222. Anytime you might think one of these accidents has happened, a clinically trained toxicology specialist will be there on the phone to help. I'll also tell you.
So you telling me if I get poisoned with like some shit and I'm dying, you think I'm just gonna call them? No, I'm hang it up, bro. I'm dead, nigga. Like what the fuck, bro? As soon as I hear that shit.
You why the toxicity of this massive ingestion happens the way that it does, as well as some steps that you can take to help prevent something like this from happening should you be in the presence of children.
Huh?
A girl mistakenly ate 96 gummy edibles for lunch.
How do you mistake that? After I think like a couple 5 or 6, you should know some weed in that bitch.
This is what happened to her brain. NP is a 12-year-old girl presenting to the emergency room with a possible head injury. Her mother, Rebecca, tells the admitting nurse that she found NP struggling on the floor. When Rebecca tried talking to her daughter, none of the words that came out made any sense. NP was born into a happy family, but her dad, Tony, would sometimes get in trouble with her mom because of one particular kind of food that he loved to eat. Tony had an herbal habit. When he was younger, those herbs would somehow just find their way into his lungs. He would totally have no idea how they got in there. But as a connoisseur of sound, natural plants that come directly from the earth, Tony strongly believed in an oil extract that his friend would prepare from this plant and put into brownies, cookies, and gummy candies. This oil contained all of the cannabinoid compounds.
This nigga is literally breaking down weed like if it's a fucking... This nigga breaking down weed like if it's a fucking serial killer.
That exert the desired effect from consuming the herb in its various forms. Just having some delicious treats, he thought. One day, Tony accidentally ate too many gummy edibles. As he lost track of where he was, he walked out of the house to go buy some milk, and then he fell down the stairs. Rebecca, unhappy with her husband living like this, confiscated all of his edibles. But Tony was undeterred. One day, he purchased a mega stash. In the kitchen cabinet was a bag of regular candy. He thought of a good way to hide this from his wife, so he mixed this mega stash of edibles into this bag of candy, simply disguised so that no one would know as he placed the bag back into the cabinet. The next day, NP decided to look for some snacks while watching some YouTube videos. In the cabinet was a really large bag of delicious-looking candy. As she grabbed it to go and set head back, but then her stomach started to squirm. At first, she didn't realize that she had eaten nearly the entire bag of candy. But as she looked, the contents were mostly consumed and absorbing into her body. And as her stomach felt more and more, thinking that her daughter had just this dad's mega stash of gummy edibles. The ones that are psychoactive are cannabinoids, the most well-known being delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol, also known as THC. This shouldn't be confused with CBD, which is cannabidiol, which also comes from the cannabis plant and has been shown to help with seizure disorder in children whose seizures don't respond well to multiple medicines. When oxygenated blood hydrocannabinol is...
Alright, bro. I'm not watching that shit. That shit... too much.
Okay, before we even start, let me tell you, this is not just any cheating story. Imagine you're a successful CEO of a company. Yeah, imagine. And your friend calls you telling you that he's attending a wedding. He sends you a video of the scenery. Oh wow, this is a very nice wedding. Like everybody looks so happy. I wonder who the bride is. Then you take a good close look. Wait a minute, that bride is my girlfriend. From a mother coaching her daughter on how to infiltrate a billionaire's family to marry their son while juggling 5 men at once and keeping it all a secret, this is like a 5-star level heist mission for Chinese influencers. Like we even got a feature from Wang Setong, the daddy's money final boss, complimenting her elite level cheating skills like it's China's Got Talent. And it all started with Xiang Sixing, the mastermind at play. Now she was a massive Chinese influencer from Zhejiang, regular city, regular family, but she had aggressive dreams. And when I mean aggressive, I mean they literally looked at their daughter and said, yeah, we're not letting genetics stop this bag. Xiang's parents had one clear plan, and it was to marry her into money. They poured basically all their savings into plastic surgery, and not just one surgery. This was a decade-long procedure. Basically, anything you don't like, fix it. By the time she hit her 20s, she looked absolutely nothing like her high school self, and she now lived by the saying that there are plenty of fish in the sea. Literally to the point where netizens crowned her as the female sea queen, or the time management final boss. Basically, the fish in the sea are the guys and she's the queen, meaning that she knows the taste of the sea. And look, say what you want, but
What?
it worked very, very well. She leaned into that influencer aesthetic hard, like that Douyin thirst trap hard. But here's the thing, looks alone don't build an empire. You need money, strategy, and traffic, but most importantly, somebody to sacrifice absolutely everything for you. Enter our CEO millionaire, Zhang Kefeng. Now, a millionaire, not with a B. And Zhang is Xiang's boyfriend. Now, Zhang Kefeng is a self-made entrepreneur born in 1989. And this guy owns multiple MCN businesses. And for anybody that doesn't know what MCN is, it's basically an influencer factory. Like, they manage creators, they push out traffic, monetize their live streams, and then they take a cut. Now, Zhang wasn't some broke manager either, okay? He drove luxury cars, he had a villa, okay, pulling up to work in the 911, the classic young CEO starter pack. So I would say that he worked for his money, unlike some. He meets Xiang, and apparently it's love at first sight. Like, this guy falls head over heels for her. And like, I mean dangerous love at first sight. Like, the logic just goes right out the door. So he pretty much helped her become famous, and they even opened up the Taobao online shop together. So Xiang would model the clothes, and Zhang would handle everything with money, data, logistics, marketing, all of that. And pretty much over the next 3 years, this man does absolutely everything for her. I'm talking mortgaging his house to 1.7 million yuan, and even dropping casually 2 million yuan on just packaging her social image online. He registered a 500,000 yuan company under her name, and even gave her directly 1 million yuan as a wedding fund. And this guy also named one of his companies Yo Sing after her name. Okay, at this point, he has to be the one, right? I mean, he's literally using your name as one of his organizations. I mean, this is like peak financial and emotional investment here. Now, Zhang really was in love with her and really thought this was his future wife, okay? He did not act like a manager or like a boss towards her. He also wired her money constantly, and I'm not talking small amounts. Like, we're talking 50, 70, 80K just for daily expenses. And a year later, they start living together, you know, talking marriage, talking about the future, and Zhang pretty much assumes that everything here is locked in now. The past 3 years of building, loving, supporting, and funding their family together. In his head, he already crossed the finish line, you know, he's set. And slowly but surely, things start getting strange. Xiang reportedly suffered from mild depression, and she would constantly stay back at Taizhou sometimes to recover. Now, I'm not saying mental health is strange, but the context...
How does your girl just randomly have mental health when she's with you with all that type of money? That would have been the biggest red flag right there. Like, bitch, what do you mean you got mental health issues? Like, I'm not saying you can't have any, but to the point where you're like, I want to go back to my old area and not fuck with me. That's like a girl saying I want to go on a girls trip to Miami and you're not going. Okay.
here gets pretty wild. One day her mom calls and her mother tells her to come back home for a blind date. Let me repeat that. While she's living with her CEO boyfriend for the past 3 years, her mother suddenly calls and invites her to come on a blind date with another man that she's never met before, like if that's completely normal. And who's the blind date? Su Junyu. Now, Su is not just some random guy, okay? He's the son of a billionaire. This billionaire family runs a real estate empire worth over 7 billion yuan. This is the big fish you want to catch. In her eyes, of course. At the blind date meeting, Xiang's mom literally coaches her on how to keep this rich, handsome man in check, okay? This was all a calculated move. And Xiang, she liked him. Not in the romantic butterflies way. She liked the opportunity. And she later admitted that she wasn't attracted to Su as a person. I don't like the rich boys. I like the rich boys' fathers. And then her mom straight up calls this a once-in-a-lifetime shop. Now, a couple weeks later, Xiang starts dating Su seriously, and they officially became a couple. While Zhang is oblivious to all of this, by the way. At this point, she's dating 2 guys at once, and it's not like a situation type of way. No. This was living 2 different lifestyles with 2 full-on relationships and keeping it all a secret. You might wonder, how did she even pull this off? Whenever Xiang wanted to see Su, she just told Zhang that she needed to travel for work. Shenzhen, Guangzhou business trips, right? And 4 or 5 days at a time, by the way. She'd even send Zhang photos claiming that she was just staying at her aunt's place. There's proof right there. Now, these photos taken at her aunt's place was actually Sue's house. She was living with Sue, meeting his family, meeting his friends, and basically test driving billionaire daughter-in-law life, while her boyfriend, Jong, thinks that she's on a business trip. I mean, a not very ethical business trip. I know, big take. Now, Sue's mother gifted Seong a 100,000 yuan Cartier bracelet. And when you're receiving gifts of like these calibers, she really had to make it subtle. And whenever she was back at Jong's place, she would only like wear it once in a while. Basically just being as low-key as possible. And in her own words, this is when Seong fell for the family's wealth. And her mom encouraged her every step of the way. At this point, Jong has no idea what's coming. He's building a future. He's planning weddings, right? He's wiring money to her. He already sees the vision, you know, he's imagining his future with her, you know, having kids. Unfortunately, at this point, you know, the audition for a rich wife has already begun. And I'll tell you what, she definitely scores top leaderboards with the amount of buttholes you need to pull off this next move. So it turns out Sue was also cheating on Xiang with another woman. So this entire thing is just a cheating triangle. Xiang was cheating on Zhang while Sue was cheating on Xiang. Now Xiang didn't really care, alright? She knew there was still potential left though. She did not want to just leave it out. So Xiang's mom, or I would say the cheating coach, told her to just stay with him, you know, brush it off, just swallow up the anger, and instead treat this as a negotiation opportunity. Listen, daughter, what you need to do is spin yourself as the victim here and get Sue's parents to apologize to you so that you can position yourself as the one saving their son. And here she wrote the infamous paragraph text to Sue's mom. These past few days have left a deep impression on me, but what happened with Soo Jun-yu is unbelievable. Over a month, I treated this relationship with all my heart, but when I saw this, I was stunned. I can't imagine these words coming from the mouth of a man who claimed to love me. Every word felt like a knife stabbing to my heart. I gave him a chance to confess, but he didn't. He tried his best to...
Nah, bro. This shit crazy, bro. Bitch, you was cheating, ho? What the fuck you talking about, man?
deny it, but with such undeniable evidence here, how can he deceive himself? Oh my god.
These Chinese women.
I'm running out of breath. I'm very touched, but I'll send the gifts back because keeping them would only make me sadder, and it's too heavy of a burden for me to bear. After typing these words, I'm in tears. I really can't say anything anymore. I'm just so fortunate to have met you guys, and this short time will forever be etched into my heart. Thank you, Auntie. Take care, and I hope your status is less than mine. Now, Sue's parents love Xiang because she had her own business. You know, she had things going for her, and to them,
she had her own business, but nigga, she wasn't running it. It was the other nigga who was running it. Oh my god, these motherfuckers is dumb as hell, boy.
This was a great opportunity. They did not want to let go of this. This girl is so much more mature than our son, who just goes out all day, unemployed, spending our money so that he can get laid. We really have to keep this gem. So they were like, son, what the fuck? Go apologize right now on your knees. Are you stupid? They get in their private jet and fly to Xiang's town, and then Sue basically just begs her to give him one last chance. Xiang is, of course, like, fine, I'll let it go this time. Yeah, of course. So at this point, it means both Zhang, the CEO boyfriend, and Sue, as well as Sue's family, are in the same town together. And she did some galaxy level manipulation tactics to make sure that these two don't collide. There were many times where Xiang straight up invited Zhang to the apartment that she shared with Sue. Of course, this is when Sue wasn't home. There was always an excuse. Now let that sink in. Zhang walks into what he thinks is their place. Meanwhile, his romantic rival lives there too. Whenever Sue would come back, Xiang would just rush Zhang out and into a hotel. Hey babe, I just remembered something. Why don't you go check out this 5-star hotel nearby? And CEO Zhang, trusting her completely, just did it. Oh my god. Because they were sharing the place, she slept in the same bed as both of these guys. At different times, obviously, carefully scheduling visits so that they would never collide. Elite level planning. And before anybody says there's no way she did this alone, correct. She didn't. Her entire family was in on it, even her younger brother. And her mom was the mastermind. She cooked meals for Zhang while Xiang was away on her business trips, basically treating him as a future son-in-law, while at the same time coaching Xiang on how to manage a rich heir as well as how to emotionally string Zhang along until Sue was locked in. And later even coached her on how to write a farewell letter to Zhang once things went south. Like, this mother was different, right? Every coach always had somebody that taught them. So Who the hell taught this mother on how to manipulate men? And her younger brother worked at the company office, so this guy was literally a lookout. If Sue suddenly showed up, he would just speed Dao Xiang and quickly warn her to move Zhang away before like these two guys collide. And speaking of close calls, there was this one moment where Sue was about to show up at the same company where Zhang worked at. Now Xiang, without hesitation, introduced Sue as her brother and Zhang as her business partner. Now this happened through text before they met in person. Essentially, she prepped by saying, "Honey, my brother is coming to the office today, but he doesn't like it when we're so lovey-dovey together. So do your best to just act professional, stay formal, and don't touch me." Guess what? This worked. I don't even know whether to be impressed or concerned by their level of
It's not impressive. It's just that these Chinese niggas is dumb as fuck.
awareness. Mind you, Xiang was
Dumb
also
as
sleeping
hell,
with
boy.
3 other
How you got like 2 billion people over there and y'all still dumb as hell?
guys at this time, trying to leech off of every single one. But you know, of course, those are just side quests, all right? Those are not the main dish. The main dish is Sue. And it actually got to a point where she accidentally got pregnant with one of these 3 guys, and she decided to blame it on Zhang for not being careful. She literally had to get rid of this baby, and our CEO Zhang, he cried, he apologized. He felt really bad. He said he promises when the time's ready, he'll do anything for her and that he'll make sure she's happy. And the fact that Xiang's mom said that she felt sorry for CEO Zhang, and then Xiang decides to say, "I can only bless him. Don't think about anything else," is just wild. And she says, "Destined by fate." Now let's talk about the amount of money that Sue's parents gave Xiang, because this is where netizens really lost it. Aside from the Cartier bracelet that she got, Sue's family gave her 18 million yuan in jewelry and gifts as a dowry. That's $2.5 million. Just some chump change for some small gifts. Throughout this, netizens joked that Xiang was just being auctioned at this point. The highest bidder wins. I mean, the CEO's millions over 3 years compared to a billionaire family. Yeah. And Zhang slowly started noticing patterns. Xiang would arrive at the company during the afternoon and then just procrastinate. Like, avoid work, drag the time, and later he realized that that was her prime window for secret phone calls. She was juggling 5 men at once and still somehow keeping her schedule completely clean. Even when our CEO Zhang's just some chump change for some small gifts. Throughout this, netizens joked that Xiang was just being auctioned at this point. The highest bidder wins. I mean, the CEO's millions over 3 years compared to a billionaire family. Yeah. And Zhang slowly started noticing patterns. Xiang would arrive at the company during the afternoon and then just procrastinate. Like, avoid work, drag the time, and later he realized that that was her prime window for secret phone calls. She was juggling 5 men at once and still somehow keeping her schedule completely clean. Even when our CEO Zhang's mother was undergoing chemotherapy, Xiang would just be with Sue living in their little lovbird's nest, completely no guilt, which went on for several months. Until March 20th of 2021. That's when everything exploded. Xiang tells CEO Zhang that she needs to go back to Taizhou because her grandpa is getting buried. This sounds serious, okay? So no questions were asked. Except she wasn't at a funeral. She was hosting a full-on wedding with Sue at the Fangyuan Hotel in Jiaojiang. And this wasn't low-key at all. It was basically a wedding rehearsal. Like, it was a huge venue with guests, both sides of the parents, relatives, and Sue gives her a bouquet of 999 roses. In front of everybody, she declares eternal love for him. You know, they were destined to be together. He is the one for her. Zhang's friend calls him and he's like, "Hey bro, I'm at this like sick wedding right now, and like look at this huge bouquet of flowers. And take a look at the bride. Wait, she kind of looks familiar. Isn't that your?" Yeah, I don't even think 5 days a week, 4 sets of 8 reps is gonna fix Zhang in this moment. You're sitting there thinking that your girlfriend is mourning a family loss, and then randomly your phone starts blowing up with her engagement pics. Now Zhang, of course, is like, what the fuck? So he starts spam calling her, and at first she doesn't really pick up, but after a couple more calls later, she picks up. And she says, "Sorry honey, I'm a bridesmaid at a wedding right now. I'll call you right back." A bridesmaid right after a funeral? And Zhang snaps. He rushes from Hangzhou all the way to Taizhou to storm the event. And absolute chaos breaks out. Like, the police get called because like Zhang started like going up to the stage, and then the billionaire's family's like, "What is going on? Who is this guy? Is he trying to assassinate us? Like, Get him away from us. John gets arrested, and then at the police station, he explains everything. And then the police just felt so bad for him that they just let him go. And this is where his villain arc starts. After the wedding blows up, John goes home absolutely shattered. 3 years of devotion, money invested, emotions invested, his future wife completely gone. All of it replaced by a man whose only achievement in life was to be born in a billionaire family. And this is where CEO Zhang makes a decision that permanently changes everybody's lives. Back in Hangzhou, he starts digging through the house and he finds Xiang's old phone. Instead of smashing it or throwing it away like any normal person trying to heal, he decides to hire a technician to restore everything. WeChat logs, photos, timelines, receipts.
Damn. That nigga said, I bet. That nigga said, we gonna backtrack everything.
All revealed. Gathering all of this, he creates a 65-page PowerPoint that will go down in Chinese internet history.
Oh yeah, that for sure is that. And she can never ever like recover from that, bro. It's a wrap. And she just did all that plastic. Nah, she's cooked, bro. Cooked, fool. Honestly, he probably got a better. That's probably what you probably need to start doing. Now I know in the U.S. I mean, low key in the U.S. is easy. You could just honestly to have a hacker just hack that fucking.
This
shit.
was a full-scale expose with slide after slide detailing the relationship, the
this
amount
nigga
of
made
money
a
he spent,
PowerPoint, gang. What the fuck? I can't read this shit, but
the cheating, the lying, and all the manipulation tactics that she used with Sue and him. Now, before anything, he first sends the PowerPoint to Xiang's parents. Not to go public yet, he just wants an apology, some accountability, just some closure, just something from them. And the mother's response? My daughter works hard to generate profits. So Zhang then leaks parts of the PowerPoint online and the internet explodes. And this story rockets to #1 on Douyin trending, top 5 on Weibo. And everyone's talking about it, even Wang Sitong. Yes, the son of the richest man in China back in 2017. He's
Nigga, what? What are you talking about, bro? China's not a real place, bro.
even Wang Sitong. Yes, the son of the richest man in China back in 2017. He's pretty much the billionaire nepo baby playboy of China. Wang Sitong comments on Xiang's Weibo calling her a high-level player, admiring her elite skills of time management. Just that one comment alone turned this scandal into a nationwide controversy. Memes flood everywhere, people calling Xiang the female sea queen. Her time management skills become like a running joke, and people said her mom could even start a paid online course for marrying into rich families. And honestly, Zhang's 3 year of devotion pretty much meant nothing when compared to like the Cartier bracelet or even the 18 million yuan dowry. And of course, Xiang fights back. She posts a statement on Weibo saying that the PowerPoint is a malicious fabrication. On WeChat, she claims that she was trapped. She accuses Zhang of physical abuse, and when they first went into business together, it caused her severe depression. She said she went home to recover, but only returned from his persuasion, in which then she got abused again. She said that Zhang used psychological manipulation to control her, and that he refused to
Bro, it's like, damn, that's like literally a go-to for every woman, bro. Emotional abuse. It's crazy, bro.
sign the contracts, didn't pay her properly, and even treated her like a money-making tool. So she left and got engaged to Sue. And when Zhang stole all the private information about her and leaked everything online, the cyberbullying and harassment completely ruined her emotionally. Now, what's important here is that she never denies the chat logs, and she never denies the multiple relationships either. She later posted photos of antidepressant medications online and said that her mistakes were rooted in depression. The netizens were not convinced. So eventually she issues a big apology, and then she promises to become a sunny, positive, energetic girl from now on. Now at the same time, people start questioning CEO Zhang as well. Why are all the chat logs only from Xiang's side? And if you spent millions, why no bank records? Netizens also found out that the company that was named after Xiang was only giving her 10% of ownership. Zhang's MCNs controlled the rest, and their livestream sales apparently exceeded over 20 million yuan in 1 year, so she was making him a fortune while being underpaid. And even friends of Xiang claimed that she and CEO Zhang had broken up many times already before. He would even stay in hotels every once in a while. So, you know, it means their relationship was not good from the beginning. And even after the scandal, her Douyin account stayed under his control the entire time. So it was still gaining followers and views. So netizens all kind of agreed that possibly everybody here is guilty. And then Sue's billionaire parents find out everything. Like, they were pissed about how their entire family is now involved in this like nationwide scandal, to the point even Wang Se-tong got involved. So their reputation is kind of cooked, right? They also threatened to disinherit Su from his 1 billion yuan inheritance and just send him abroad. They then demanded the return of that 18 million yuan dowry that they gave to Xiang, and for Su to just cancel off the engagement completely and never talk to her again. Initially, Su was like, no, I can't do it. I have to stay with her, you know? She's the one. Honestly, like, we were destined to be together. We still love each other so much, and if we have to, we'll have to fight through this together as lovers. But eventually he just caves under pressure because, I mean, 1 billion yuan is 1 billion yuan, right? So then Sue's mother got hospitalized due to anger. So Xiang posted an apology video, crying, apologizing, you know, all that good stuff. Meanwhile, Zhang actually had to serve 6 days in jail for illegally accessing her phone and just leaking everything to the world. After getting out, he says he's finally ready to move on. He's restructuring his MCM business and hired a new female live streamer to replace Xiang. And then after a couple months later, he starts dating this live streamer as well. I don't know about you, but after 3 years of devotion, no healing? I mean, maybe he's just built different like that, I guess. And eventually, Xiang starts fading from the online presence, her appearances start to slow down, and then she writes a reflective article admitting moral failure and promising self-improvement. And from all of this, one thing is clear. Nobody won, okay? Everybody here ended up worse than they started. Xiang chased wealth, lied to multiple men, and treated relationships like a transaction. Su and his billionaire parents embraced Xiang when it felt like it suited them, but then just dropped her immediately after the moment the scandal started threatening their image. And yeah, that PowerPoint will live on forever. So yeah, that was truly a wild one, and I actually want to know your guys' thoughts on who you think is in the wrong here. And there might even be some evidence that we never saw, because
it's clearly the girl. Come on, bro. She was doing all this shit for like years, homie.
Been trying to find out if I'm in the Epstein files. That's why there hasn't been a video in a few days, because at this point I'm convinced 85 of the world's population is in those fucking things. Holy shit, I'm disturbed at what's going on in our world. Thank God I talk about baseball, because if I had to talk about politics or real world issues for a living, I'm convinced I would have radicalized myself into some sort of terrorist by now. It makes me so angry. Me being a baseball fan has saved lives. Look at that. If I ever was a terrorist, though, you elite humans would be safe. Don't worry. And if you're not elite yet, all it takes is one hit of a button and it's like snorting crack. Same thing, but healthier. Anyway, you would have thought Luis Ariza's skills were a healthy way to get a big payday when he became a free agent this offseason. I mean, a 3-time winner of the batting title, meaning he had the best batting average in the league. That happened 3 times. He's led his league in hits twice. Okay, that doesn't seem like a guy who'd make people suicidal if he signed with their team. Seems like a guy who teams would be foaming out the mouth to give the Brinks truck to, no? No, not really. So I talked about this a few weeks ago, but only in baseball can you have a player who quite literally hits more than pretty much everyone, yet he's an objectively average to even below average hitter according to the stats. Despite him being, like, on a technical level very good at what he's supposed to do for his job and his sport, the stats say that he's not very good. Now, part of me says screw the stats, those are for nerds, just stuff that shit into the locker. They don't know